At Boulder High School, students were ordered to attend an assembly where a bunch of so-called educators encouraged the kids to take drugs and have indiscriminate sex.
I'm going to encourage you to have sex, and I'm going to encourage you to use drugs appropriately.
That's the thing they don't tell you about condoms. If you're lucky enough to get them on and you still stay hard, it's hard to stay hard. And another thing, it doesn't feel as good.
If you want to get marijuana in the city of Los Angeles, all you got to do is go to a doctor who will write you a script. You go to a club. They not only sell marijuana, they sell hash, they sell baked goods. We have brownies, we have cookies, all the things you like. So come on over.
It's very natural for young people to experiment with same-sex relationships. Even today, there are psychiatrists who will do sessions under the influence of ecstasy. If I had some, maybe I'd do it with somebody.
Is that unbelievable? Now, the three people responsible for the outrage are Superintendent George Garcia, School Board President Helene Jones, and Principal Bud Jenkins. Since none of them would address the issue with us, Factor producer Jesse Waters visited them, beginning with Garcia, who put a statement on his website that said the discussion you just heard was appropriate.
We're with Fox News Channel in New York. We just wanted to talk to you about that panel that came to the school. I mean, some of those panelists said, I quote, I encourage you to have sex, I encourage you to do drugs. Do you think that was appropriate?
I think I gave a public statement, and you can get it on our website.
But do you think that was appropriate?
Excuse me.
Sir, you're a public official. Your salary is paid for by the taxpayers.
Hey, would you...
Sir, you really think that's appropriate to tell kids to do drugs?
You can read my statement on the website.
Then we found Dr. Jones.
The panelists said that it feels better to have sex without a condom. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's appropriate? The panelists said that if they had any ecstasy right now, he'd do some ecstasy.
I suggest that you listen to the tape and report what the panelists actually said. The board stands by the superintendent, and now I'll ask you to leave my private property or I will call the police.
He said that he encouraged the use of sex and drugs. Do you think that's appropriate to encourage kids to use narcotics and have casual sex?
And finally, Principal Jenkins.
Principal Jenkins, do you think it's appropriate for this panelist to say that people should be doing hash in California? Do you really think that it's appropriate for a panelist to say that they're encouraging same-sex sexual relationships? Do you think that's appropriate? Yes or no, Principal?
Cowards. Now, this is one of the worst things I've ever seen. It epitomizes what happens when secular progressives take over. The SP movement now runs things in Seattle, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, Oakland, Boulder, Madison, Wisconsin, and the entire state of Vermont. It is interesting to note that there has been no public outcry in Boulder over the controversy. Many parents seem content to have their kids encouraged to take drugs and have indiscriminate sex. So the people of Boulder are really getting what they want. An unbelievably permissive public school run by cowards who will not explain the benefit of forcing young people to sit through an exposition like that. The Rocky Mountain News editorialized that Boulder High School officials, quote, have incited recklessness, and that newspaper is correct. Meantime, the very liberal Denver Post has had little to say on the matter. But I say this, secular progressive movement is dangerous, especially to children. The people who recommended drugs and unrestrained sex to the kids are being invited back to Boulder High School next year. What a pathetic scenario, but unless the good folks rise up against this kind of thing and fire the villains, we'll be seeing more of it. And not only in Boulder, but all across America. We'll be right back with Donald Trump